What's going on, everybody? There's a lot of talk in the crypto space about the power token and what the heck is happening to it. I thought it'd be a great opportunity to explain arbitrage and shorting because I'm sure it's terms that a lot of people have heard of, but not everybody has completely conceptualized. So, depending on however you see the situation going, I thought it'd be cool if I tried to explain the two and so that you can have a better understanding of the situation. So let's get started. First off, what is arbitrage? Arbitrage is essentially when the price of one asset, token, stock, is trading differently in one place versus the other. And arbitrage is benefiting from the price difference. How does one benefit? You buy it in the you buy it in the cheap place. You literally walk it over to the expensive place, sell it, use that money, buy it cheap, walk it over, sell it, and you keep doing the cycle. Now, with one side having pure buying and one side having pure selling, the prices adjust accordingly until they reach an equilibrium. And whoever was the one balancing that out is the one that profits the difference in the market pricing. This is actually common everywhere. And it's one of the things that keep prices stable across different chains, different networks, different ecosystems, different countries. If we're going outside of crypto, is these arbitrageurs. Some people make a whole living out of it. Some people create bots to detect when there's price differences in different ecosystems and trigger buying and selling. So arbitrage is actually completely normal. It's part of the market. There's nothing wrong with that. And it can be profitable if you can see the opportunities. And in a place like crypto where it's still very inefficient, you can find these relatively easy versus more mature markets. Now, what is the issue with power now? The issue with the power token is that there is a brick wall in between where it's cheap and where it's expensive. And this wall is because tokens on the Ronin network that you can buy for 60 cents cannot be bridged over to the rest of the world. So it's two separate ecosystems working at their own rates. But that doesn't mean that there's not a setup that you can have to still profit from this arbitrage. And this is where shorting comes in. Now, this is where things get a little funky. Of course, I'm not telling you to short or buy or anything. So this is non-financial advice. It's just educational purposes. I want to explain first how shorting works and then how it's looking like in this current situation. So let's get into shorting. So what is shorting? We're going to use something a little more visual to explain the situation. So imagine you have a farmer friend who farms apples. He farms thousands of apples every day. He always has them on the side. And you also notice that down the street, there's a farmer's market with people selling apples at $2. And in your mind, you're like, $2 an apple? That's crazy overpriced. I've been to this market before. They usually sell for much, much cheaper. So you go to your farmer friend and say, hey, yo, can I borrow 1,000 apples from you? I promise when I'm done, I'll give you back 1,000 apples. And, for your generosity and work, I'll give you $1 a day until I give you back these apples. Your friend's like, yeah, no problem. Totally cool with me. You can borrow 1,000 apples. So you take these 1,000 borrowed apples, and you go to the farmer's market real quick and sell them for $2 each. So now you have $2,000 of sold apples, but you still owe your friend 1,000 apples. So this farmer's market, you're assuming it's like a special event, a holiday weekend. That's why they jacked up the prices. In like 3 days, it's gonna go back to its normal prices. So you wait the 3 days. After 3 days, the apples go back to $1. You quickly buy 1,000 apples for $1 each. You now have your 1,000 apples. You still have $1,000 left. You go back to your friend. You give him his 1,000 apples. He says thanks. You also give him $3 for having him wait 3 days. You end up profiting $997 just because you noticed that apples were being sold overpriced at a certain place. That is essentially what shorting is. You are borrowing assets to sell them at this overpriced price. So how does this bring us back to the power token? Well, you can set this thing up. So how it looks in crypto, now this is kind of when it gets a little more confusing, is Binance is your friend, or any of these CEXs, or centralized exchanges, that allow you to do futures, like longing and shorting. So you can borrow power tokens and sell them at the same place. And the thing is, you don't have to wait a few days to buy it cheap, because over this wall on Ronin Network, you can buy how many you owe from here for very cheap. So let's say you did 1,000 power tokens here, you sold them prematurely at $1.70. You can buy those 1,000 for 60 cents. And what you then have to wait is not for the price to drop, or for the price to rise. You then have to wait for this wall to go down. So that's what a lot of people have set up. There is an immense amount of shorts on Binance, CEX, all these centralized exchanges, and some buyers on the Ronin ecosystem. But the bridge is still not fixed. And the big problem is, with so many people shorting, it is very expensive to hold your position. Your friend, or your centralized exchange friend, if you want to call it that, is charging you a lot to hold this position while you wait for this wall to get down. So then you start wondering, man, is it even worth it for me to hold all these borrowed tokens that I sold, or should I pay them back? Now, the problem on top of that as well, and we're actually going to leave here, is the price is also going up, like skyrocketing. So you might have set up this position when the tokens were $1.10, and now if you have to buy them back at $1.80, you're at a loss, you're losing fees. It's just absolutely terrible. And on top of that, when you buy them back to pay back your friend, you're also increasing the price. So that's the short squeeze that is happening. People in short positions are digging themselves into a deeper hole if they if they buy the tokens to get out of their position, because it then also increases the price. So now, how this got set up, all that stuff is all questionable. We'll all find out when it all finishes, but that's what's happening. And just to prove it, on the Ronin network right now, power is 62 cents. On Uniswap on Ethereum, it is $1.87. And these are live prices, as you can see. So there is, and then yes, then on futures, it's around the same, $1.81. And if you look at the funding rate here, it's 0.82% an hour, which makes it about 7,000% APR a year, which is absolutely nuts. So it actually encourages people to long so that they can farm these rates, which is screwing the shorters even more. So I hope that helps some of it. I mean, I'm seeing a lot more people talk about it, a lot more posts going viral. But to understand what's going on, you kind of got to understand how shorting works. And you also got to understand why people try to jump at arbitrage situations. I hope this was somewhat helpful. Let me know if you have any more questions in the comment. I am not positioned at all into this. I was thinking of trying these strategies, but there's just so many possible ways to lose. So I'm not touching it. I also noticed that the price on Ronin jumped from 60 cents to 70 cents back to 60 cents. So it's its own little speculation ecosystem that's happening over here. Anyways, thanks for listening if you watch this all the way through, and see you guys soon. Cheers.